Agent. In this file, you will find the complete dossier for Nathan Summers, aka Cable. His history, thematic connection to his Marvel Champions cards, and Agent sketches final thoughts on his kit and what aspect suits him best. Be sure to hit the like button to inform your supervisor that you have completed reading the documents enclosed. Subscribe button to ensure you are receiving the information at the correct address, and leave any additional notes that need to be added to the contents down in the comment section below. Open the file with caution, and let's begin. Nathan Summers, aka Cable, is known for his affiliations with Six Pack, New Mutants, X-Force, X-Men, X-Terminators, Uncanny Avengers, Secret Avengers, Clan Ascani, and Sword. He is 6 feet 8 inches, has gray hair color, blue eyes, weighs about 350 pounds. He was born at Xavier's school, and his current residence is at a sword facility called the Peak. His powers and abilities. Nathan Summers would be considered an Omega level mutant. However, because of the techno-organic virus and him having to use his telekinesis to fight back that virus, he's really only considered an Alpha level mutant. He is a powerful telepath, and also a powerful telekinetic mutant. He has limited time travel manipulation, no more known like a body slide, can manipulate time within a few minutes or moments, but nothing too large, extravagant time changes. However, he does have a device that allows him to travel through time, so he has gone to the future, past, and different times, which makes his history, the next section, very complicated. The techno-organic virus that's in his body makes him a cyborg as well. In fact, there was a point in the comics in which a different ulterior universe of him was covered completely in the organic virus, and thus was a complete and total cyborg at that point. Here is the history for Nathan Summers. Nathan Summers was born to Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor, and was abandoned by Scott not too long after, when Scott discovered that Jean had come back to life, which opened the door for him to be kidnapped by Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister performed some experiments on him, but soon Scott, Jean, and some other X-Men came and rescued him. After rescuing their son, Apocalypse ended up kidnapping him and infected him with the techno-organic virus. The brave mutant ship jumped into his body to help fight the virus and keep it at bay, but he did struggle as he was fighting this virus back. Suddenly, from the future, Mother Ascani appeared, and Scott bravely sent his son away to be healed by Mother Ascani in the future. However, soon Mother Ascani discovered that she was not able to heal him completely like she had hoped, so she created a clone of Cable, who soon became Strife. In fact, Strife was raised by the future Apocalypse to fight back against Cable and really caused more problems. Nathan Summers was trained by Mother Ascani to use his telekinesis to keep the virus at bay, which helped things along the way. And eventually they were able to pull Ship out of his body once Cable was able to control keeping the virus at bay. By this point, though, Ship had completely forgotten who he is and became a new entity called Professor. As Scott grew older, he fought alongside the Ascani, defeated Apocalypse, and even fought Strife many a times along the way. Soon discovering that it might be best for him to travel back in time to prevent some of these awful things from happening, Scott traveled back to the present, what we know as our present, to help protect the universe. He created a ship called the Grey Mulkin, and many safe houses in the present for him to station and use different teams to protect this timeline. And had Professor run all of them, all the safe houses, Grey Mulkin, left Professor there to take care of things. And he led several different teams in the past, as we have mentioned above. These different teams he used to help protect the future by preventing awful things from happening in the past. He did work with lots of other X teams and other mutant teams along the way to help protect this timeline. However, he was killed by a younger version of himself, who came from the future, upset with him for not sending back the original X-Men that were brought to the present. In fact, it's kind of silly to think about, because Nathan Summers would have had the ability just to be like, alright, let's send them back, even though the rest of the X-Men had trouble sending them home. The young version of Nathan Summers stayed through the Krakoa events, and eventually the older version of Nathan Summers came back and said, hey, I've got this, you go back and do some more training, and I will take care of things here. At that point, the young Nathan Summers had taken over Sword, or at least was working with Sword, and Nathan Summers was able to join on in his place instead. The big key thing of note for Cable that we all need to be aware of. He took care of Hope Summers, was there during the Messiah Complex, And when there was a chance that Hope might be killed after being the first mutant born after the events of House of M, took her to the future and raised her as a daughter, his own daughter. And she was taught in his ways and trained in his ways, and then brought back to the present. Now it's time to check out his cards of Marvel Champions to see if they suit and fit his story background. Agent Sketch has found that the theme is quite on point. In fact, his ability to do temporal leaps and body slide and to come back and forth from the future to prevent awful schemes in the past is something that suits him quite well. In fact, his obligations and side scheme seem to fit quite well with him battling and dealing with the techno-organic virus, and that giving him more powers when it is under control, or even just removed completely. Precognition to kind of have a basic idea of what might happen so we can prevent things from happening bad in the future. And of course, him working with the Ascani is exemplified quite well as being an Ascani son. Agent Sketch makes a note that it is quite cool to see that they're utilizing a character that can deal with so many side schemes and dealing with all these other things that could impact the future in great ways, but were really minor problems in the present. He is quite adept at taking care of those side schemes, and he becomes more powerful as he does. It is neat that the Back to the Future side scheme and the techno-organic purge are both things that only he can deal with and damage and fight against. It just makes it a unique thing for him, and it is really what is impacting Nathan Summers himself. His cards actually match his powers as well, with things like Mind Scan or Forced Amnesia, or Telekinetic Blast and Telekinetic Force Field. He's able to use all these powers to create force fields and powers and use fire telekinetic blasts and control minds and erase things from minds. He's got all these strong powers that derive from really his mother's side that make him quite strong, adept, and powerful in everything that he does. Even his supports fit his theme quite well, with having the Grey Malkin and the Professor and the Plasma Rifle, which is all in every single one of his arts. When you see Cable, you know he's got a big freaking gun, which is quite cool. And they all seem to connect quite well to what he does and his purpose there. Overall, he gets a 5-star rating for his theme. The cards seem to match the hero Cable quite well, and seems to be a thumbs up from Agent Sketch. Agent Sketch finds that Cable might be suited best in first leadership, then aggression, then protection, and justice. He did make a note that in his game with Justice, he did struggle quite a bit with getting him to keep the schemes at bay. He did seem to thwart more, but was unable to do more attacking, which finding that balance may just be an issue with Agent Sketch, not an issue with other players. He did find that Cable, with more practice, did quite well with things like leadership and aggression, where he was able to thwart quite well in both those areas, and he will even have the right attack events to fight back. And in protection, being able to take control of the field and protect the rest of the folks that he had there with him, he was able to defend quite well. Psionic cards work perfectly with him, and Cable is quite fun. In leadership, it is a great theme for Cable. It shows that he's able to lead quite well. Aggression fits Cable quite well because Cable has come back to take care of problems in the past. So fighting against those issues, whether it's defeating a scheme or beating up the villain, he's able to do those both very balanced and very quickly. There was no issue with Cable fighting in aggression. In protection, Cable does quite well in defending his party, as well as making sure that the schemes that are being dealt with are dealt with appropriately. And finally, justice, though it is at the bottom of the list, is not the poorest. It's just making sure that you find the right cards to suit him well. He's already really good at thwarting, so adding more cards that allow more thwarting may be a little too much on his end. You may want to find a better balance in which you can do more attack events in his kit through justice, while completing the schemes along the way as well. Overall, there is no aspect that Cable is not good in, and Agent Sketch encourages all readers to try out every aspect for Cable. Again, Agent, do not forget to hit that like button to inform your supervisor that you have read the contents of this file. Subscribe button to ensure that you are receiving this information at the correct address, and leave any notes that need to be added to this file in the comment section below. Be sure to look in the corners and tabs for any additional dossiers that you might need to. Thank you again, Agent, for your service.